Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode on sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Chances are you probably are not. I know as much as I try, I don't get the prescribed 7 to 9 hours of sleep every week or every day. And I sometimes play catch up on the weekends, which is, if that's you, then it's probably not working out so well. And so today I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Weiss. She has over 15 years of experience as an adult geriatric nurse specialist with a Master of Science of Healthcare and a PhD in nursing, focusing on behavioral sleep medicine and circadian rhythms. And the reason why I have her on the show today is because we talk a lot about work, we talk a lot about our faith, and one of the things that can impact both of those areas is how much sleep we're getting. And so today, we're going to have a really great conversation with Dr. Weiss as she just explained how we can get more sleep, why it's so important, and yeah, practical things that you can do today. So without further ado, Dr. Weiss, we'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, Valentina. Thanks for having me here. You pretty much introduced everything, my professional background. I've been working for more than 15 years, which seems crazy in retrospect. Everybody thinks, how old you are. Well, I sleep well. That's why I don't look, don't look my age.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so it's been a long journey. Rewarding journey as well. Lots of hard work, but praise to God that everything has going in the direction that He wanted to go, and more than I could have imagined to do this. But I'm originally from Brazil. I got my bachelor's and master's in clinical training in Brazil. I worked there for about 8 years as a nurse, as assistant professor as well. And I was at that point in my career that I needed to get a PhD degree for career progression. But I really wanted to have the research experience, the full-time research experience. And with that came an opportunity to move to the United States and get my PhD here. So I moved in 2013 and then had this full immersion in research, working at clinical research and experimental research in laboratory and all that. So after I finished my PhD and fellowship training, I've been working with the older adults in our community, doing some consulting work as well in sleep medicine. And it has been a delight just to share the science in a way that everybody can incorporate in their daily life and hopefully have better quality of life just by sleeping better.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose to specialize with adult geriatric, like in that group of, I guess, people or adults?
Yes. So that's a funny story because when I went to nursing school, I'm first generation. So my family, we all knew that education is the pathway if you want to be successful in life and to have a better life, even with more financial stability and all that. So I decided to go for nursing because my great grandmother was a doula, and I grew up on that environment with my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mom, and I was just inspired by her to become a midwife. And I went to nursing school thinking about midwife and OBGYN and all that. But on my first day of clinical rotation, I went for to the delivery room. I spent the day in the delivery room, and I realized that wasn't for me. And it was very disappointing in a way because I felt lost. I've been let's say for the past 3 years before that day, I was thinking about becoming an OBGYN specialist and a midwife and all that. So that day was very dramatic for me, very heavy. I remember going home and just crying, thinking what I'm gonna do now, and praying about it. A couple days later, I doing still rotations for all the clinical settings. I started working with this older adult, this older woman that had dementia, and she needed help just to remember how the appointment should be set up and how to take the medication. And immediately I thought about my great grandmother and my grandmother, and I was like, it went very well, my interaction with her. Yeah. And I said, wow, this is it. This is what I want to do. Wow. I think that's it's a population that is overlooked, because the exciting part of taking care of somebody and see how life is going to progress and grow and bloom. And I'm in the opposite spectrum of that. Right? I'm seeing how life is going to end. And I want to give as much dignity and as much care and respect as I can to that moment of life as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. My mom is a nurse, and I have a lot of friends, this might sound weird, who are older adults. And I just love interacting with them, like just their wisdom, their stories. So I can understand that that's what you wanted to focus on. And it kind of goes to show also that we may have a plan, but God knows us better than we know ourselves. Yes. And that it's encouraging to know that even if we are disappointed, He's just like, okay, good, now I have your attention.
Yes, exactly. I think that's exactly how he felt. And the pathway that he got me after that day is incredible. It's more than I could imagine. So I'm very grateful that God just took the lead and brought me where I should be, you know.
Oh, well, great. So then how did you then move from that specialty to working on behavioral sleep and medicine and circadian rhythms?
Yeah, so back in Brazil, when I was working with older adults there, the treatment that we have for sleep disturbances was just providing medication, right? And then thinking about older adults, either by having surgery or having mild cognitive impairments or just more dependency, sleep disturbances are the first thing that we start noticing that something is off for them. Right. So they may be still working, doing the activities in the house, interacting with their family, but their sleep is off. We have all these stories about our grandmothers that wake up at 4 a.m, start cooking lunch for everybody. You know, we have those stories and we kind of relate to them as a funny behavior that a grandmother has. It's kind of typical for the grandmother, but it's actually one initial sign that something might be going on in their brain that requires different attention. So I make this transition to sleep research because I was in a way dissatisfied that the only thing we could do is giving medication for them to sleep instead of investigating what it was happening to their sleep. And more of that, finding a way that we can intervene early on to maintain they healthier for a longer time. Yeah. So that was what was fascinating for me in sleep research, that we can analyze the brain through the sleep pattern and then identify when is a good time to make an intervention to preserve their cognitive function and just make their life better.
Wow, that is great. So then could you then describe to us like what it is that you do on a daily basis?
Yes. So I have my days is divided between clinical and experimental research. So a couple of days of the week, I'm with the participants and study participants and patients in the clinic all day, doing assessments when they come in. So I do the regular history, how was the past week, and also analyzing how their physical performance changed since the last time that they were there, how their cognitive performance changed also. So I have some physical tests that I do and some mental tests. And those can be paper-based or can be in the computer, kind of like a type of a video game almost, that I can get different types of memory and cognition and how fast they react to some lights and colors. What they can remember after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes. So that's the type of assessments that we do. I also look into blood work to see how they change from the past visit. And I have ways to analyze their sleep data through all entire months or combining several months of data with devices like the Fitbit that I give to them. They use 24/7, and I have different time points where I can look at that. And then we can signalize to them or for the family member when is a good time to make adjustments in their patterns, and we can see the improvement for that. And I also have students coming in. So I have medical students, nursing students coming in. I teach the medical and nursing students in the fall. So usually spring and summer is more with the participants and study in the clinic. And then the fall, I have that and teaching the students as well. So it's pretty busy, but it's very rewarding.
Oh, good. So what aspect of that gets you the most excited throughout your day?
I think the most exciting is when we have the older adults coming in to the clinic, and we establish this relationship with them by following them for so many months and seeing how they change over time and how they maintain their physical function and cognitive function is very rewarding. When the first day that they come in, they say, I can't sleep, I'm forgetting things, I don't know where I put my keys, I don't know, I open the fridge and I don't know when I'm gonna get there. And then a couple months go by when they have the treatment, and they come back happy and smiling and say, you know what, I remember this, I remember that. And this is very rewarding.
Yeah, that would be. Gosh, so I know that you're a woman of faith. So I'm just curious, how has your Catholic faith impacted your journey and where you are now?
I think in a personal level, I wouldn't be here without faith. It's plain simple that I wouldn't be here without faith. The way that God prepared the way for me, it's miracle after miracle, and it's really taking me to places that I never imagined I could go, and really putting me in a position to help people with the gifts that He gave me to understand the science and the clinical aspects of it, and to teach everything that I know. So more people are doing the work as well. And that's in a personal level. In a professional level, I see every patient, every student is the image of Christ, right? So the way that we interact, it can be the hardest day at work with things not working as they should, or some things getting out of control, but remembering that that's the image of Christ, and we never know what everybody's going through. So it's staying calm, it's staying centered, and try to be that person also that in the middle of the crisis that they can go to and say, I can trust Dr. Weiss that it's not going to be yelling at me, or she's not going to lose her temper. I think professionally, that's also how the faith guides me every day. And it's interesting because I don't have to disclosure my faith to my participants. They ask me about my faith.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We start interacting. They say, are you Catholic? Are you Christian? Just by going through an evaluation for, you know.
Oh, wow.
So I found it very, it's God's work really, because how they would know, you know. Sometimes I have my necklace, I don't have my necklace today, but I have my necklace with the miraculous metal that I use almost daily. And that also is a point for conversation, for relaxation for them as well. So the faith is there all the time, and it's really my grounding and my center for everything that I do.
Oh, gosh, thank you for sharing. And honestly, you exude a lot of peace and joy. So I can definitely see why your participants and students would ask you that. So yeah, God is definitely working through you.
Thank you.
So focusing a little bit on sleep, and we know that it's so critical and that it affects every aspect of our lives, from our cognitive abilities to our energy level, even to our weight. Why do you think, and I know it's probably different for everybody, but why do you think most of us don't get enough sleep?
I have a few theories for that. Like, one is just that we live in this 24/7 society. Everything needs to be done for yesterday, right? It's everything is overdue. We need to do everything fast. We need to be productive at all times. I see sometimes, especially in my field, that somebody send an email at 2 a.m. and by 7 a.m. they're already asking if you fix that. You know? So even though in sleep research, you know, we all should know better that we should be sleeping at this time.
Yeah.
But medical science is very competitive, and that's why there's so much pressure to be productive. But in our society in general, everything needs to be 24/7, right? So this pressure that we have in our society definitely affects how we sleep, because for once, we cannot find the time to have the sleep opportunity that we need. Second is we just feel guilty if we are sleeping. We have this culture of shaming and guilty about resting and sleeping. Is not very welcome. It's frowned upon if we take time to rest and to sleep, or even to take a nap if you feel that you need one. And especially those discrepancies are even worse among racial minorities. So, for example, as a Black woman, Black women are expected to be strong, to be driven, and to be taking care of themselves and the entire family, the community. And when it's time for the Black woman to rest, you know, it's so difficult to find that time to rest because we need to take care of everybody else. And there's also the impact of different neighborhoods, violence or access to resources, because you're not going to sleep well if you don't have a sleep environment that help you to sleep well, right? So all those things together, they can affect the way that we sleep, the quality and the duration of our sleep. So, of course, there are some physiological factors, for example, smoking, drinking, not exercising, being overweighted. Those things can help affect sleep too. But the social impact, it's also very important, how good or bad the sleep is.
That's really interesting, Dr. Weiss. I've actually never had anyone say that. So, wow, that's something I'm going to have to be reflecting on. But I'll agree with that in terms of, I feel guilty when I take a nap. Like, I remember when I was working full time, I would, like on my lunch break, just take like a 20-minute power nap in my car. And I would always just feel so guilty, like, oh, I should be at my computer or talking to somebody, but I'm just really tired. But I would always feel better. And I'm glad that I have the ability to take just a 10-minute and 15-minute nap and feel good.
Yes. And you shouldn't feel ashamed for that. That's a physiological need. right? It's just like breathing and eating. We need to sleep too. Our body was designed this way.
Yeah.
So why society puts so much guilt and shame in sleeping? It's a physiological need.
Yeah. No, exactly. So then what would you say though to somebody who is a busy mom or who works the night shift and it's really hard for them to sleep during the day, or maybe their moms sleep when their kids are sleeping and they're waking up in the middle of the night because they're taking care of their kids?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's like, I want more sleep, but it's not possible right now?
Yeah. Those are the challenges that we have in the sleep field, right? For example, for the busy mom, especially with the young ones, right? As they start having a sleep schedule, the babies and the infants and the toddlers start having a sleep schedule. And I understand that they have regressions that are natural for their physiological development. But for the mom, it's a burden for their sleep. So as much as we can to create a sleep routine for the baby or for the toddler, it's important for the mom as well. So they can follow that sleep routine for themselves and try to sleep better with that. Of course, it's not gonna work for 100% of the nights, right? Because sometimes the baby's gonna be teething, and then that's going to affect their sleep and affect the mom too. But the more consistent, the better. So the more consistent we are with the sleep schedule for the baby or for the toddler, that's going to help the mom as well. And that would be a good advice to give for the moms and for caregivers in general. The more consistent with the routine, the better. And for shift workers would be to adjust their sleep opportunity or the times that they have available for sleeping according to their shift work. So, for example, when I was doing my clinical training, I had a 24-hour shift. Oh, wow. And I only had 4 hours to sleep. And if I tell you, like, there's some nights that we have so many patients that I could not sleep at all. And I'll leave that 24-hour shift is straight to go teaching in the clinics for the nursing students.
Oh my gosh.
And like, it was not ideal. It was not healthy, but it was something that financially and professionally I need to do at that time. But as soon as I could change my schedule, I did that. So I think ideally for somebody that does shift work, the day after the shift, they need to have a space for sleep, a time frame that they can block for sleeping, and then have the opportunity to rest after doing the shift. So don't do what I did. Try as much as possible after the night shift, have a block of time that they can sleep.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And there are a few people in my life that do shift work, and so that's partly why I'm selfishly asking this question.
Yes.
Do you recommend that someone keep that same schedule even when they're not working? So if they're used to being awake all night, then the days that they're not working, do they just stay awake all night just to keep a pattern?
So there are a couple of studies looking into that, and then there's two alternatives that some people, depending on how their biological clock works, they are more likely to be okay working in the night shift and then maintain that schedule for their lives. They adjust better to having that type of schedule, and they don't suffer the impact of sleep deprivation in the same way that other people would. So, for example, if they have to maintain a night schedule and they can adjust their social engagement, the family and everything with that, they will have sleeping during the day and being awake during the night, and will be health-wise, they would be fine with that. But most people, they need to do some adjustments in their schedule the day before and the day after they have the night shift. So there are some studies showing, for example, using bright light therapy can help them adjust for the days that they are not in the night shift, or if they need to be more alert the days that they do have the night shift. Taking melatonin can be helpful for those people as well. So it really depends on how well the person can adjust to the night shift by their biological clock, and how well they can adjust their social and family life around that schedule. And then we can, as far as sleep science goes, we can work with both circumstances and make the best way to have a good and healthy sleep with the opportunity that they have.
Okay, that makes sense. I will pass on that advice. Thank you.
Great.
Is there any other kind of advice that you find yourself sharing often with your patients?
Yes, the one advice I share a lot with people from all ages, and that's not just older adults, is that we need to have a bedtime routine and a morning routine. So our brain works as a timekeeper with the biological clock, but we have so many other things happening, right? We usually associate sleeping with just the action of falling asleep, but there's so many other things happening in the brain and throughout the body that needs to happen during the sleep time. For example, hormone regulation, the immune system is working during the sleep time. So it's important that we give the brain a very clear separation about when it's daytime, when it's nighttime, so it can work in those physiological aspects in the best way possible. So I always recommend that at least 1 hour before bedtime, we start giving the brain the information that bedtime is approaching. So it's almost like we have a laptop open with several tabs. You start closing those tabs to know that I'm going to sleep now. I'm going to close all those tabs and I'm going to focus on the things that I need to do during sleep time. And the same thing as when we wake up in the morning, giving the brain as much information as possible that is go time, that is daytime, and then it's going to start opening all those tabs again. So, for example, for sleeping in bedtime, removing any type of stimulation such as laptops, TV, Instagram before going to bed, invest in having some space for meditation or prayer. I really like having that night prayer, quiet space, and the room a little more darker, right? Don't have bright lights at that time. Take a warm shower that helps cool the body temperature, and all those things together help the brain build up melatonin and just prepare for sleep for the night. And then the next morning when you wake up, just having bright light, exercise, don't skip breakfast, just keep those fuel going and help the brain understand that now it's time to be awake and I'm going to focus on that.
Okay. Oh, that's really good advice. Speaking of advice, there was an article that you had shared on Instagram a few weeks back about products to help you sleep better. And one of them was in the article, it showed research that having houseplants in your bedroom can help you sleep better. I was really excited about that because I love houseplants. And I can't wait to tell my husband because I'm going to be like, hey, I can buy more houseplants, right?
Nice. Science backup for that. Yeah.
Exactly. So do you know why that is? Like, what is it about certain houseplants that help us sleep better?
Yeah, so there are some studies looking into how houseplants help with the oxygen in the room, just refreshing the air in the room, so to speak. And there are other studies looking into how just having the houseplant and just being able to care for them also has a mental health component that promotes relaxation. So it's kind of two good areas that houseplants can help with the oxygen levels and also the mental health component that is very important for a good night of sleep.
Yay! I'm already imagining all the plants you're gonna buy.
That's great.
Okay. Well, as we come to the end of our time, just if there's one thing that you could tell somebody about sleep, what would it be?
Oh, the one thing I would tell is that the sleep we get now in our 30s or 40s and 50s is going to make a difference for when we are 70 or 80, as far as how your physical performance is going to be and how your mental performance is going to be. We see often in the studies that not sleeping well in these times affect how the brain clean all the toxic molecules that accumulate from the working during the day and increase the risk of having dementia. So once we hit 70 or 80, it might be too late to do certain interventions. We can just do a palliative care and just symptom management at that point. But if you really wanted to prevent and stay healthier longer, we need to start taking care of sleep now.
Wow, that is like a mic drop moment. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Well, Dr. Weiss, thank you so much for your time. And if someone wanted to learn more about you and about your research, where can they go?
Yes, they can look up Dr. Weiss Sleep Education on Instagram. And that's where I usually share what is new with the research, what we are doing to enhance sleep education and things that we can use our daily life to sleep better and share with everybody, with our loved ones and our friends to help them sleep better as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the greatest gift you can give somebody.
Yes.
It's a good night's sleep.
Yes, if you love them, let them sleep.
That should be a logo.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you again for your time. It's been a lot of fun talking with you and learning new things about sleep. And I can't wait to share your advice with people. So thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Valentina. It was a pleasure talking to you and God bless you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.